Hi, this is Mrs. Prosser, and we're going to look at one more category, visual aids. Now, the key to visual aids are you want to have lots of visuals, but you don't want them to be distracting. And that's one key detail. In the rubric here, you don't want to use distracting images or too many images. You don't want 50 images on one slide. So let's take a look. The category for A here says you need 3 images max on a slide that help explain the presentation. And the images should all be properly cited. Okay, so let's go take a look. I've got some examples in mine. I added on my first page an image because maybe I want to start with a good laugh and I want everybody to enjoy my presentation. But the problem is, while it's entertaining, it's kind of cute, it doesn't help my presentation. In fact, it probably is going to distract a little bit and make people laugh and think about something that has nothing to do with my presentation, like what they're going to do over the weekend. So this is not the kind of image you want. So let me go down and see what else I have. This image is great. It's detailed, it's large, and I've cited it. When you cite it, remember, you need to cite who created the image. And if their name is not on the website, you need to make sure you're putting their username. But remember, you can't just put any image up. It's got to be a Creative Commons image or public domain image. So let me go down and let's see. All of my images are cited here. But let's say this slide looks a little boring. I want to add an image on this slide. A day on the job, the history of the planet. So maybe I want to search for a picture of Earth. So I do a search for Earth. And so now I can have a picture of the planet on there. The main thing is you got to change it to Creative Commons. Remember, you want to make sure you're looking at images that you can actually use. So let's go with, let's say I like, I don't know, I like this one. This one's okay. Let me click on this. And then here I can verify it's Creative Commons. Kevin Spencer is the person that took this. Go away, Kevin Spencer. And let me download this. I don't need it to be that large. I'm just going to go medium since it's going to be just part of my slide. And I can just click and drag this in. Now, here's a mistake a lot of people do. They'll go ahead and start clicking like this. And they'll be like, okay, well, I'm going to just kind of squish it down. There we go. But that looks terrible. You want to make sure when you resize an image, you want to resize by clicking and dragging from the corners because that will keep it in proportion. So that'll keep it from losing its shape. And once your image is in, you need to remember to cite it. To cite your image, you can click here to add a text box. Click where you want to add text, and I can put courtesy, or you can put, Creative Commons image by, there's several different ways you can cite it. And we said this person's name was Kevin Spencer. Kevin Spencer. Now, I want to make sure that I've sized this to the same size as my others. So I changed -20, and I also have a different font. I've been using Cabin. I can resize this text box. If I wanted to, I could change this text so it's lined up against the image. And if I wanted, I could even link back to the original image. You don't have to do that, but that's a good practice. To do that, I would select part of this text, Kevin Spencer maybe, go to Insert Link, and then over here, I'd go back to the website, copy this URL up here, and then come over here, paste it in, apply, and now people could click on that and go to the link. Now the problem is sometimes it chooses a bad color, a color that's not easy to see. So you might want to go back and change the color back to black or whatever your color is. The link can stay in there. It doesn't have to stay that weird color it selects. Almost done. Couple last things. If I click down and look at some of my other images, here's the problem. This image got stretched out when it was put in. Remember, you don't need to stretch images out. It's okay if they don't fill up the whole screen. They don't have to fill up the whole screen. Some students have also asked, well, how do you know if it's in the middle of the screen? If you click and drag slowly, you'll see a red line pop up when you hit the middle. So here, I've dragged it to the middle this way because the red line popped up. And if I want to drag it to the middle the other way, I would click and find it until it hits the middle. But that doesn't really make sense here. I've got this title, now my title's cut off, so I'm going to go ahead and just click and drag it down and find a space that I'm happy with. But one thing to keep in mind is don't stretch your images out. They look ugly when you stretch them out. It looks like you don't know what you're doing. So it's okay to have images that are not stretched out, that are smaller. That's okay. You can always make them larger. And for example, let's say I wanted this whole slide to be this image. I could change the slide to, I could change the layout to be blank. So that gets rid of the weird bar. And I can click on the text. And basically, to get rid of the text box here, you just click on the edge on that blue line and hit backspace. So then I can just go ahead and full size this. And now I've got a giant UCLA cupcake page. And if I don't want the yellow background, I could always change the background on just this slide. I could change the background to be black. And that way it's not distracting. That's fine. Even if that's not part of my color scheme, I'm just using the black there so people can focus on the image. So anyway, these are all some ideas for you. In the end, make sure you're citing your images. Make sure you don't have too many images, but you should have lots of images. Don't stretch them out too much. And you know, make sure you're adding lots of visuals, because that is one of the most interesting things in a presentation. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and go to work.